Hello and welcome to In Depth. I'm Teena Jha. This year marks the 25th anniversary of the historic 73rd and 74th Amendments to the Constitution of India. These two amendments conferred constitutional status to local self-governments in rural and urban areas. Prior to these amendments, the Constitution recognized only states as sub-national entities. There were three lists which identified the domain of governance, policy making and legislation. These were the Union, State and Concurrent lists. The objective of the 73rd and 74th Amendments was to strengthen democracy at grassroots level through local bodies. 25 years later, has that objective been achieved? What is the status of our local governance system and the journey so far? These are some of the factors we'll look into in today's In Depth. In democracy, every person has the right to express their opinions on issues related to the development of their area. This is possible only by decentralization of power. Local self-government is very important in this direction. So, to strengthen the position of urban governance in a more organized manner, the Government of India took a pivotal initiative through the enactment of the 74th Constitution Amendment Act. Through this, people's participation in the governance of urban bodies increased. Let's understand the provisions in the 74th Amendment of the Constitution.
The 73rd and 74th Constitution Amendments are milestones in the efforts to achieve a realistic decentralization of power in the country. Since independence, there have been calls for active participation of local residents in villages and towns in the process of decision-making. The 73rd Amendment deals with the panchayats at village level and the 74th Amendment deals with local administration in the urban areas. Through these amendments, the third tier of administration after the central and states was made stronger and more effective. After the 74th Constitution Amendment, the decisions relating to the welfare of cities, towns and localities were not confined to the government. The local population got rights to decide for the welfare and development of their areas. Following these amendments, holding local body elections became a constitutional obligation.
In that 74th Amendment, certain provisions have been added in the Constitution relating to the constitution of these bodies, regarding their regular elections, regarding delegation of powers to them, regarding giving them authority to collect taxes.
The Constitution's 74th Amendment was passed by Parliament in December 1992 and came into effect on June 1, 1993. By the 74th Amendment Act, Part 9A was inserted in the Constitution. In addition, the Act also added the 12th schedule to the Constitution. After defining the municipal area and the municipality, Amendment Act lays down rules regarding organization powers, functions and finances of the institutions of urban local government. Provisions from Article 243P to 243ZG were also inserted to Part 9A. The aim of the 74th Constitution Amendment was to revitalize and strengthen urban governments so that they function effectively as units of local government. The other purpose was to increase the participation of public representatives in the development work of the cities. As per Article 243W, all municipalities would be empowered with such powers and responsibilities as may be necessary to enable them to function as effective institutions of self-government.
Municipalities were being run by pre-constitution laws and every municipality had a different law. So these municipalities were being superseded and such supersession continued for years together. So all that was felt to be not desirable for municipal functions. So it was felt that if we make a uniform law, then these problems which have been existing could be set at naught. The whole idea was to decentralize the working of the municipalities so that they are able to function as independent units of self-governance. So that was the whole intention.
Article 243Q provides for establishment of three kinds of municipalities of every state. Nagar Panchayats for areas in transition from a rural area to an urban area. Municipal councils for smaller urban areas. Municipal corporation for larger urban areas. Now let's understand the composition of municipalities. All members of a municipality are to be directly elected by the people of the municipal area, and for the purpose of making the electorate, the municipal area will be divided into territorial constituencies known as wards. Each ward in the urban area is elected directly by the members through election. The manner of election of chairpersons of municipalities has been left to be specified by the state legislature under Article 243R. Reservation of the seats for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in every municipality corporation has to be provided in proportion to their population to the total population in the municipal area.
So, one is a Nagar Panchayat, that is at the lowest level, and that is about the rural areas which are aspiring to become urban. So, largely they are rural, but they are on way to becoming urban. So, that is Nagar Panchayat. Next is municipal council, which is a town, which is normal town, I mean a small town, and tier 2 town as we call them. And then at the apex level, you have municipal corporations for mostly urban bodies which have population of 10 million or more.
Every municipal corporation has a term of 5 years and starts from the date of the first meeting. Elections take place after the expiry of the year's term. An election to constitute a corporation has to be completed within 6 months from the date of the dissolution of a municipal corporation. Article 243K relates to elections to the panchayats, and Article 243ZA talks about the State Election Commission. The conduct of elections is vested in the hands of the State Election Commission. This commission is independent of Election Commission of India. One of the important features of the constitutional amendment is the constitution of the Finance Commission under Article 243Y, under which the Commission will make recommendations regarding sharing of finances between state and municipality and also suggest ways for improving finances and determine grant and aids. The Finance Commission, constituted under Article 243I, shall also review the financial position of the municipalities and make recommendations to the Governor. In addition, the Act has also added 12th schedule to the Constitution. It contains 18 functional items of municipalities listed under Article 243W. These include urban planning, financial and social development including urbanization, regulation of land use, roads and bridges, water supply, public health, among others. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
To address the economic, social and political problems of the society, there is a constant need to amend the Constitution, for which the Constituent Assembly laid down an elaborate procedure. Due to this provision, many amendments ranging from Panchayati Raj system to several others were included in the Constitution. Let's take a look now at the process of amendments in the Indian Constitution.
The Constituent Assembly and the Parliament had some apprehensions on the process of constitutional amendment and how much power must be given to the judiciary. Many members of the Constituent Assembly favoured flexible provisions for amendments to the Constitution, but the draft committee finally adopted a partly flexible and partly rigid process. The Constituent Assembly also pondered over the process of future amendments in the Constitution. One suggestion was to adopt the British parliamentary system model, where Parliament is paramount and the role of the judiciary is limited. But the Constituent Assembly yet again agreed to adopt a mixed arrangement. The procedure of amendment in the Constitution is laid down in Article 368 of the Indian Constitution. This procedure ensures the sanctity of the Constitution and keeps a check on arbitrary power of the Parliament. The Constitution provided for 3 categories of amendments. The first category, amendments can be effected by Parliament by a simple majority such as that required for the passing of any ordinary law. The amendments under this category are specifically excluded from the purview of the Article 368, which is the specific provision in the Constitution dealing with the power and the procedure for the amendment of the Constitution. The second category amendment includes amendment that can be effected by Parliament by a prescribed special majority, and the third category of amendments includes those that require, in addition to such special majority, ratification by at least 1/2 of the state legislatures. The last 2 categories are governed by Article 368.
For passing of any bill, normal bill, there is a provision for simple majority. That is, if there are 100 members and 51 vote for it, then the bill is passed. But for constitutional amendment, special majority means 2/3. So, first and foremost 2/3 of the member of the house should be present, and then out of those present 2/3 should vote in favor of the amendment, then only a constitutional amendment can take place. After that, sometimes if the constitutional amendment provides some changes in the state laws or requires to be implemented by the state, then the concurrence of state is also needed. So 73rd, 74th amendments, because they were relating to some authority of the or laws of the states, because states had passed laws regarding the municipalities and the panchayats. So the states were required to also concur.
The process of passing the Constitution Amendment Bill has been kept separate from the process of passage of ordinary bills. In relation to passage of a bill, under Article 108, there is a provision of convening a joint session of both houses to overcome the stalemate. This provision does not apply to the amendments to the Constitution. The entire process related to constitutional amendment is mentioned in paragraph 368(2). There have been more than 100 amendments in the Constitution of India so far. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
With that, time for a very short break on the program. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching In Depth. The Constitution of India was prepared after studying constitutions of over 60 countries. Although it includes the best features from several other constitutions of the world, the Constitution of India has several features that distinguish it from other countries. Here's a look at the salient features of our Constitution.
India is a sovereign democratic republic with a parliamentary system of government. It took 2 years and 11 months and 18 days for the Constitution to be written. On 26 November 1949, the Constitution was unanimously adopted by the Constituent Assembly. The Constitution came into effect on January 26, 1950. Several changes have been made to the Constitution from time to time. The original Constitution begins with a preamble, which is an introduction to the Constitution. At its commencement, the Constitution had 395 articles in 22 parts and 8 schedules. As of January 2018, 101 amendments have been made to the Constitution. Currently, the Constitution has 25 parts with 448 articles, 12 schedules and 5 appendices. The Indian Constitution is the second largest active constitution in the world.
Our Constitution has from the beginning 395 articles, but some have been deleted and some have been added. Still the number is 395, but in between there are some omissions, some articles have been omitted, and this Panchayati Raj related and 73rd and 74th amendments, they have added almost 46 articles. They are numbered 243A, 243B, and they go up to 243ZQ or something like that. So some 46 articles have been added. So on the whole, one can say that we have about 450 articles in our Constitution.
The Indian Constitution is the longest written constitution of any sovereign country. Another important feature is that it's neither flexible nor rigid. The Constitution of India is federal in nature but unitary in spirit. During an emergency, the Constitution provides for a unitary structure instead of a federal one, with the centre taking control of the states. The Constitution provides for a single citizenship with no separate citizenship for states. India's parliamentary system of government is unique in the world. It provides for both parliamentary sovereignty and judicial supremacy. The Constitution also provides for an independent judiciary. The Constitution provides fundamental rights to the citizens of India and also protects them. Embodied in Part 4 of the Constitution, directive principles of state policies are directions given to the state to guide the establishment of an economic and social democracy. The Constitution also sets out fundamental duties in Part 4A. Despite all these features, provisions have also been made for amending the Constitution. The Constitution of India guarantees security and equality to all citizens, including backward classes, tribals and minorities. Our constitution asserts that India is a secular nation. Every citizen in India above the age of 18 has the right to vote without any discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, region, gender, and educational qualification. In the beginning, the minimum age for voting was 21 years. Indian Constitution also provides for separation of powers among the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. There are also provisions for independent bodies like the Election Commission, the Comptroller and Auditor General, and the Union Public Service Commission that act as the important pillars of the democratic system. Originally, the Constitution provided for a two-level government system, including the centre and the states. However, after the 73rd and 74th Amendments, a provision was made for a three-tier government system, including local bodies. With inputs from Leena Sharma, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now talking about the 73rd Constitution Amendment Act. It was implemented in June 1993 to provide a strong basis for the decentralization of power in the municipalities. Prior to this, the 73rd Constitution Amendment Bill was implemented to provide a solid foundation for the Panchayati Raj system as well as to ensure public participation in local government. Let's understand what the 73rd Constitution Amendment Bill is all about and what efforts were made to strengthen the Panchayati Raj system. We leave you with this report. Thanks for your time.
The need and importance of a local government was realized in the pre-independence era. That's why when the Indian Constitution was written post-independence, its makers made proposals to ensure the public participation at all levels of governance for the smooth and efficient functioning of democracy. For this, the concept of Panchayati Raj system was laid down. Article 40 of the Constitution says the state shall take steps to organize village panchayats and endow them with such powers and authority as may be necessary to enable them to function as units of self-government. To effectively implement what's been said in Article 40, the 73rd and 74th constitutional amendments were passed in December 1992. Through these amendments, local self-governance was introduced in rural and urban India. The acts came into force as the Constitution's 73rd Amendment Act 1992 on April 24, 1993 and the Constitution's 74th Amendment Act 1992 on June 1, 1993. The 73rd and 74th constitutional amendments provided constitutional status to the Panchayati Raj and the municipalities. There's a story behind the implementation. In 1952, a community development program was started in India, but the general public could not directly connect with it. In order to smoothen their access, a committee was constituted under the chairmanship of Balwant Rai Mehta in 1957. This committee presented its report in 1958. The committee recommended that a three-level Panchayati Raj system should be established at the local level with Gram Panchayat at village level, Panchayat Committee at block level and District Council at district level. All three bodies were to be linked with one another through a process of indirect election. It suggested direct elections to Gram Panchayat and indirect polls for the other two bodies. In recognition of the recommendations of the committee, then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru started the Panchayati Raj system for the first time on October 2, 1959 from Nagaur district in Rajasthan. After that, several other states also implemented the Panchayati Raj system. However, due to lack of funds and mutual differences between members of Panchayati Raj institutions, the effort did not get the desired success.
Journey of these urban and rural local bodies, especially post-independence, it started with the Balwant Rai Mehta Committee report. Balwant Rai Mehta Committee in its report said that if you want these community development programs to be executed in a proper manner, then you have to set up local bodies in rural areas on a regular basis, and not that somewhere they are there, somewhere they are not there. So, in all rural areas you must have panchayats, and above panchayats at a higher level you have panchayat samitis, and at the district level you have Zilla Panchayat.
Following the failure of recommendations of the Balwant Rai Mehta Committee, the Ashok Mehta Committee was formed in 1977 to consider Panchayati Raj institutions and make it more effective. In its report, the committee suggested that a two-tier system be adopted in the Panchayati Raj system. Mandal Panchayat at the lowest level, in which 10 to 15 villages are involved, and District Council at the district level. However, the recommendations of this committee could also not be implemented due to the political situation of the country. In 1985, a committee headed by G.V.K. Rao was formed, which recommended strengthening the Zilla Parishads. A year later, in 1986, another committee was formed under the chairmanship of L.M. Sindhavi to examine the Panchayati Raj system. This committee emphasized on the need to strengthen the Gram Sabha and conduct regular elections of Panchayati Raj. It also recommended the constitutional status to Panchayati Raj.
Janata government, which came in 1977, set up this Ashok Mehta committee. Ashok Mehta committee, among various things, it said that 3-tier is a little unmanageable, so there should be 2 tiers. One at Zilla level, Parishad level, and one at a conglomerate of the panchayats. Instead of having a local body in every panchayat, you make a group of 10 panchayats, 15 panchayats, based on certain population norms.
After clearing all these stages, the 73rd and 74th amendments sailed through and efforts were made to bring uniformity in panchayat institutions and urban bodies across the country. The 73rd amendment is related to the Panchayati Raj institutions. Under this, Part 9 was added to the constitution. With the addition of Schedule 11, subjects in the jurisdiction of panchayats were included in the constitution.
The 73rd and 74th amendments have come in the early 1990s, and on that basis some broad outline of how the governance of urban local bodies and rural bodies should be organized, that guideline, you can say, for the state governments have been prescribed in order to ensure regular elections and in order to ensure that there is devolution of finances, that they are able to given some authority to tax, and they have some regular functions.
The 73rd Constitutional Amendment ensures not just public participation in local self-governments under the Panchayati Raj system, but also plays an important role in strengthening democracy. At the same time, it is a step towards realizing Mahatma Gandhi's dream of Gram Swaraj. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.